Right, so today we're walking down Jarvis, and we're just coming up to where Mount Pleasant and Jarvis join. We're just starting at the beginning of Jarvis on the north end. So Jarvis has kind of a storied past, I guess. Had most recently the controversy of having a bike lane or not. Through the 70s and 80s, it was basically the stroll of Toronto. And in the late 1800s, though, this was the street to live on. This was where the rich came and built their houses, and we'll see some of those houses as we walk along here today. All right, now over here, this monstrosity is the Rogers headquarters. As you can see, it goes all over the place. Over there we have the first of the mansions. And I am going to do a video on the mansions along here at some point. This one I do know is now Casey House, which was the first independent hospice for AIDS, HIV patients. That's currently what it is. It also formerly was the headquarters of the YWCA, starting in the 1940s, I believe, and prior to that being built in the late 1800s up to the 1940s, it stayed in the possession of the family that built it. When I do a video on the mansions, I'll have a little bit more information on that. Quite the impressive house. Gloucester Street. And if you were to go down there, that would take you right to Yonge Street. Another one of the Precious Homes. This is the Rundle House. Now, a lot of these houses now are either rentals or they're offices for organizations, or they've been donated to the house, to the So I'm going to try to get across the street now for these two. Now the first one isn't as well known, not the two. They both belong to the same family. So these were both done by the Massey family, which is Massey Ferguson Tractors, probably best known for. That's where they made their fortune. But also Massey Hall. Definitely did a lot of philanthropy for Toronto, increasing its culture. Over here we have the second of their mansions, and this is the Keg Mansion, which is a kind of a unique experience if you want to go have a steak dinner somewhere. I'd highly recommend it. I've done it, it's fun. And supposedly haunted, so. And this is just north of Wellesley. Another feature of Jarvis, I don't know if you're going to get to see it. If you see that light in the middle lane there with the red X, showing that that lane is right now closed to northbound traffic. If you were to look at the southbound, you will see a green arrow showing that it's open. And they can alternate that middle lane to make it 3 lanes in one direction. So it's the only street in Toronto I know that does that. But it makes a lot of sense when you think about it, because it allows for you to open up an extra lane of traffic depending on the traffic flow. Oh, there you go. It's Saturday, September 26th, times 2:29, and it's 24 degrees Celsius. Quite pleasant out today. This building here is Jarvis Collegiate, one of the older schools in Toronto. It's not the original building, though this building would go way back too. So definitely some low-rise apartments that you see along Jarvis. dying breed in Toronto when you consider all the high glass and steel condos going up everywhere. You've got to wonder how long these will last. So just looking at the Jarvis sign there to give you an idea, the original school sited there, which was Jarvis Collegiate, was opened in 1807. So 1807 by Toronto standards, that's pretty old. And we're at Maitland. And again, down that way would take you directly to Yonge Street. Again, another one of the fine houses of Jarvis. Now Lifford Wines and Spirits. Quite the beautiful house. I know I had this in my research, I don't remember anything about it. Or was it the next one? But these two definitely will be when I do the Mansions of Jarvis, a feature on that. Trying to get the whole house in here. Always seems to be a little too fast in the movement there. Betty Oliphant Theater over there. Which I believe is also where the National Ballet is now. I'm not sure if that is it, but it does look like the old CBC building. No, I think that's going to be this Yellowstone building from here. That's where the National Ballet of Canada is housed. Here's quite the impressive house. And now we're coming up to quite the impressive structure here. This one I will definitely have to have featured in there, but that is an impressive building. hopefully the sun's not killing the picture too much. There are some of the older houses there also. And now we're coming up to Jarvis and Carlton. Just down that way to Yonge, but also would be Maple Leaf Gardens is just down that way where the Toronto Maple Leafs used to play, and lots of different rock concerts and other events definitely happen there. And if you were to go down this way, it would take you down to Parliament and Cabbagetown. And the structure that I take it they're going to build around it because they've hollowed it right out, but I guess it's a heritage building in some form and they can't tear it down, so they gotta keep the facade, which there's definitely some fine examples in the city of where they've done that rather well lately, and others have been rather terrible. But and next to us here is Allen Gardens and Botanical Gardens there. Allen Gardens is known, it's a bit of a dangerous park, but for the most part it's fine. You will meet some characters in there, but people are people. For the most part we're all good. I mean, it's all have our own story. And definitely looking over there, you can see the playground with families having a good Saturday afternoon. On the far side there we now have two mansions all boarded up, and looks like it's ready to be developed. Oh yes, there's going to be condos going in here. I read about that. So I don't know what's going to happen with these. Hopefully they preserve them to some extent. If I remember right, these are Gritterham houses. One's of Gritterham and Warts down in the Distillery District, that family. There's a church there, the Jarvis Baptist Church. And this is the church house, which I did do some study on in this mansion, and I will have more on that when we actually do the mansion walk. Today though is just Jarvis. And over there, that Harvey's. Harvey's is famous as Hooker Harvey's back in the day because this was a stroll for prostitutes in that time. And that name has stuck with it. I still hear it referred to all the time that way. And apparently it's being saved. The condo's being built and it's going to be built around the Harveys. So hopefully they will build it around these mansions as well. And Ryerson University over there. That would be the north end of it. And this Econo Lodge over here, I can remember when that was a very, very rough hotel. I got nervous just walking by it. Not so much today. And it is currently closed to the public. And it's probably doing housing for the homeless, as many of the hotels in Toronto right now are, which has caused some controversy, that's for certain. Now that's an old sign. I don't know if you guys can make it, but Media Boutique DVD rental, buy and sale, used CDs, DVDs, and games. I don't know when the last time I looked at renting a DVD. As this Comfort Inn is coming down. One of the older apartment buildings. Still around. And these are all Ryerson accommodations. Ryerson keeps kind of going more and more to the east as it grows. One of the last remaining kind of rooming houses, $190 weekly. You used to see that quite often along Jarvis. Another mansion that looks like it's been turned into rooming houses. Beautiful. But might be slated for demolition based on zoning notice. I don't know if that applied to the old rooming house or to the mansion. now we're coming up to Jarvis and Dundas. So you're going to see a lot more condos now. A lot of them are for Ryerson students. A lot of them are anyone who wants to buy some downtown property, and that seems to be a hot ticket based on the growth in the building constantly. There's a debate if it's for a living or if it's for just moving foreign money into the country. Murals on the Toronto housing. No, I think that actually is part of a rec center based on the screening questions going on to get in. Which is good. We need to stay safe. Much busier than I remember Jarvis and Dundas ever being. It's good though, it means there's activity. Down that way is again going into Cabbagetown, the south end of it, and the south end of Regent's Park. And down there would take you directly to Dundas Square as well as the Eaton Centre. And if you went further into Chinatown and also down that way, the southern tip of it. Now this building, which looks like it's coming down, yeah, I'd say that's coming down. That was the Grand Hotel. Prior to that, it was the RCMP headquarters in Toronto. So I'm happy I caught that before it went down. And now we're coming up to, I guess, what would be considered kind of the sketchier part of Jarvis. It's just a short stretch, really, from Shooter down to Queen. And historically it has been that way. It's the Moss Park area. And the rooming houses in here, such as these are probably, well, these look like they're all empty. I'm just waiting for renovations. Definitely at one point with a rooming house based on the buttons. Definitely some old architecture here. Beautiful house. And it's time. And their building permits are up on it, so I don't know if they're going to be renovating it or tearing it down. Hopefully renovating it. But throughout this area you will see services for homeless, for addiction, such as Haven over there. You have the Salvation Army across the street. So Shooter Street, if you were to go east, it'll take you down to Regent's Park and right down to River Street where it turns northward. And down in that direction, you would hit the Eaton Center and Massey Hall. So this is Moss Park here. This is actually the armory we're coming up to. And you're going to see a bit of a tent city here. These have popped up all around Toronto in the parks, I guess, during this pandemic. This building, which looks like it's probably going to be going down. Right at the corner though, one of my favorite Army surplus stores in the 80s. Used to get flight jackets there. A few different things. Flight jackets, a couple sweaters too that were actually really warm and reasonably priced. And look good. On the corner here is Fred Victor Mission, probably the largest mission in this area. gas station there. This is Richmond Street coming up, which is a quick way into the city from the east because it only runs westbound. And why it's such a good street is there is no TTC traffic on it. So there is no getting stopped by buses and streetcars and such. So if you're driving, this is a great road to get in. And the consulate of Indonesia. And now coming up to Richmond, Jarvis will drastically change again. And Mystic Muffin, that's been here as long as I can remember. "27 years, there you go. And now just coming up to Adelaide Street, which is kind of the opposite of Richmond. It's a great way to get out of the city if you need to get to the East End. For the same reason, one way. There's no TTC traffic on it, so you don't have a lot of stops. And trust me, the TTC drivers appreciate you not being on their roads. And less cars makes their life easier too. Start getting some view of the Toronto skyline there, blocked by trees, which isn't so bad. And nice little park there, lots of kids playing. And apparently a lot of closed businesses right now. Some leasing opportunities. And we're coming up to King Street. Not such a great street to drive on. Lots of pedestrians and streetcars. And as you get further to the west, outside of Yonge, that's where the nightlife is. So it always seems strange to, when I was interested in the nightlife, King Street was just dead. There was nothing on King Street. The old Massey Ferguson plant, I think, was about it. King Street, which has a lot of old architecture on it. Some beautiful architecture, such as the St. Lawrence Hall there. It's a shame Toronto doesn't have a lot of its old architecture, simply because this old part of Toronto has had two major fires, one in the 1800s and one in the early 1900s. It's gutted most of it. So and coming up here we have the St. Lawrence Market. Great place to go, buy fruit, vegetables, meat. If you're in the area, it's also a great area just to grab a bite to eat. I recommend going down to the lower level and grabbing the veal sandwich. You'll be lucky if you finish it. So, the St. Lawrence Market on a Saturday will be completely packed. All as packed as it's allowed to be during phase 3. It's kind of a Toronto tradition of coming into the market and shopping on a Saturday. And there's usually a North Market here, which has antiques and such here, but it's being reconstructed. And you can see the lineup over there for getting into the market right now. Doesn't look nearly as bad as I thought it'd be. Now we're into the part of Jarvis known as Lower Jarvis. So you definitely get to see the St. Lawrence Market here. Again, long tradition of some of the best fruits, vegetables, and meat cuts probably in the city. And as I said, I love the lower level for the veal sandwich down there. Sandwich that it's best known for, though, in the St. Lawrence Market is probably pea meal bacon on a bun. I'll go for the veal, though. Oh. Now we're coming up to the Esplanade, which used to really mark the end of the city down here. So basically you just got the Gardner Expressway, and then you would have, in my day, a whole bunch of empty warehouses, abandoned warehouses, some still functioning, but basically a lot of abandoned industry. Not something that you really wanted to go see. Though I can remember doing a few tours of it down there and finding it actually kind of interesting. And the funny thing is, Distillery District's right down here, and I've never been to it since they've renovated it. I always went there when it was just ruins. So, look at downtown there, into the financial district. Also down there would be the old Spaghetti House. Tourist spot. I don't think too many Torontonians make a point of going to the old Spaghetti House, but I think I went there, I've been there maybe twice in my life. Yes, this area has definitely changed. The housing complex was here. I actually had friends who lived in this complex, so I was down here. But the shoppers, all this would have been just probably vacant buildings or just storage areas. All the stores on this side seem to be vacant. Well, all over there for at least two. This area will develop. See another tower going up there, and a few more try and catch up to it. Oh, we're just coming up to the Gardner Expressway, which this expressway has always kind of had the effect of cutting the south part of the city off from the rest. And that seems to have been changed somewhat in the last decade, maybe the last 2 decades. But you rarely ever came this far south. There was very little reason to, other than to go on the Gardner. They keep talking about taking this thing down, but they haven't yet. Now those Loblaws here, probably one of the first businesses to actually open up down here. I'm looking at bringing a commercial value down here again. And you can see it's still being built up around considerably. Light store down to Young Street and down to the East End. Quick water break while we wait for the light, and we're just about done. what they now call the South Core there. And you can see the different condos going up, and that's just a constant in Toronto. That one looks more like an office tower than it does a condo. Though these days, no balcony, so I'll guess an office tower. Look at Loblaws there. And just coming down now towards Queens Quay. It's going to be the end of our walk on Jarvis. Bit of a breeze picking up now that we're down by the lake. There's Red Path Sugar, and one of the few big container ships you'll see in Toronto. across the way there you can see the Toronto Islands. Actually, the yacht club is right across the way there. So, over there you have Sugar Beach. And you walk along the waterfront there. With that, I'm going to make my way downtown, and I hope you all have a good day.